Episode 58, Hamari Memsaab. Jagdish was upset, maha upset. He felt that he had been dethroned totally. And all because Bapu brought them to this mega city. अरे इससे अच्छा तो गांव था. Back in their village, all his neighbors and relatives said that Kamla's death will make the children very lonely and without support. Jagdish now realized how true they were. If Ma would be alive, they would never have migrated to the city, nor would his position as the king of the family get compromised. Jagdish's family looked up to him because he was the only one who was educated. When Bapu was given a mobile phone by his Memsaab, it was Jagdish who taught his father the basic alphabets and numbers so that the latter could at least understand who was calling and how to dial a number. But Bapu couldn't read messages, and every 3 or 4 months when Bapu would come home to the village, Jagdish would read out and explain all the messages to him. Dhani, Pipuli, Ganga, Rani, all of Jagdish's sisters were in awe of his being educated and would take his word as Brahma Lakir. Jagdish was just in class 5, but he behaved as if he was a graduate. One would have thought that Jagdish was the last child of the family, a family that gave birth to 4 daughters, waiting for the son to arrive. But strangely, that was not the case. He was born after Dhani, and obviously the birth of the son was celebrated with much happiness and relief. Somehow Dadi felt that the 3rd child would again be a son. But when Pipuli and Ganga were born as twin sisters, there was large-scale depression in the family. Finally, when Rani was born, both Kamla and Ramesh decided not to have any more children. So, Jagdish's reign continued unabated. He was the only one among the children that Dadi agreed to send to school. छोरियों को स्कूल भेजन क्या फायदा? छोरियां घरा में रहें, घरा का काम करें, बस. As the only male child, and that too an educated male child, Jagdish was the center of attraction all the time. A doting Dadi and a loving mother ensured that he lived life king size. Ramesh, or Bapu to the children, worked in the mega city as a domestic helper. He had been living in the servant quarters of the Kapoors since the last 15 years now. Mrs. Kapoor was large-hearted and gave the responsibility of the entire bungalow to Ramesh. As a working woman at a high position in the corporate sector, she needed a trustworthy domestic helper, and Ramesh fitted the bill perfectly. But then tragedy struck. One evening, as Kamla was returning from the fields, she accidentally stepped on a snake, which in turn bit her. Kamla died on the way to the primary health center. Ramesh was heartbroken. He decided to bring his children to the megacity as his mother couldn't really care for them all by herself. When they shifted, Ramesh requested Memsaab to get Jagdish admitted in a nearby school. She agreed for it immediately. And Ramesh, what about the girls? इनको कौन से स्कूल में डालोगे? Mrs. Kapoor was shocked to learn that none of the girls had ever been to a school. Ramesh, इनको स्कूल क्यों नहीं भेजा? Ramesh had no answer to give really. His mother had taken every decision of the house, and working away in the megacity, he had no control over all the decisions at home. And now, of course, it was too late. वो Memsaab, Dhani can read the alphabet a little, Memsaab, and she can count money also. फिर शादी करके तो she has to go back to the village only ना, तो school is not required now, answered Ramesh. Ramesh, don't give me this horrible reason for not educating your daughters. Arey, you have been living in this city since the last 15 years. Haven't you realized by now that education, especially girls' education, is so very important? You have committed a crime, Ramesh, by keeping them illiterate. And how insensitive of you to be defending their being illiterate. How will they progress in life without education? Arey Memsaab, I will ensure that they marry boys who are properly educated. अब मेरे लड़के को ही देख लो. He is educated. He will be the earning member. Now if his wife is not educated, तो चलता है ना. He will take decisions for the family, and for that he will be capable. After all, I have also never been to school, Memsaab. आपको तो पता है. रमेश, 3 जनरेशन पहले तुम्हारी फैमिली में कोई बस में भी नहीं बैठा था, कोई गांव से बाहर नहीं निकला था. But you did, right? Times change and we have to change along with them. Don't give me this लड़का पढ़ा हुआ है and if wife is not educated तो चलेगा. What will happen if God forbid something happens to you or your son? तो सारे decisions ऊपर आसमान से बैठ के लोगे? You should be ashamed of yourself, Ramesh. Ramesh didn't know what to answer. He had never seen Memsaab so angry. It was the month of May and he knew that school admissions are difficult. He didn't want Jagdish to waste a year. Ramesh had come to remind Memsaab to call up that principal once again and ensure Jagdish's admission. But she was too angry. Ramesh decided it best to keep quiet for the time being and approach Memsaab in the late evening when she would be a little relaxed. He busied himself with the daily chores. In fact, now Dhani would do almost half the work. That afternoon, as Ramesh was chopping veggies for dinner, he heard Memsaab's car come in. How come Memsaab has come back so soon? Wondered Ramesh. But it was only Vasu, the driver. रमेश, मेमसाब ने बोला है कि तीनों छोटी बच्चियों को फटाफट तैयार कर दो. मुझे उनको लेकर पंचायत स्कूल जाना है. हैं? लड़कियों को? अरे मेमसाब मस्ट हैव सेड कि जगदीश को रेडी करो. ही हैज टू बी एडमिटेड इन स्कूल. नहीं भाई. शी कॉल्ड मी अप टू द रूम एंड सेड दैट ब्रिंग द 3 younger girls. अरे तुम उनको जल्दी तैयार करो ना भाई. Ramesh was thoroughly confused, but he couldn't refuse Memsaab's bidding. She used to be on short fuse in the office during the daytime. He quickly asked the girls to wash their faces and wear their salwar kameez. Young Rani was just 5, so Dhani dressed her in a frock. The 3 girls were so excited to sit inside the expensive sedan car that they jumped with excitement. Vasu took the girls, leaving behind a very perplexed and a slightly scared Ramesh. Memsaab and the girls came back almost after 4 hours. In these 4 hours, Ramesh went through bouts of panic, confusion, fear, uncertainty, and even anger at Memsaab. The girls were looking scared, but it was Memsaab who was distinctly looking very determined and satisfied. Ramesh, suno, I have admitted all the 3 younger girls in school. Rani is of course the youngest, so her admission did not take much time. Pipuli and Ganga they will admit in the KG and then promote them to class 1 by Diwali. Dhani is already 12, so they refuse to admit her directly to a specific class. So I have arranged for a teacher from their school to come here daily at 10 a.m. and teach the basic alphabet and numbers to her. Next year, if she picks up things fast, we will admit her to class 4 or maybe 5. You don't worry about the fees. I will get it all sponsored through my office. I have also talked to Nalini Gupta, that NGO Wali Memsaab, to get some employment for Dhani in the evenings so that there is some extra income in the family. And don't worry, Jagdish का भी admission हो जाएगा. Ramesh was too overwhelmed to respond. And Ramesh, don't let anyone from your village, your relatives, or even your own family tell you that girls shouldn't be educated. They have to be educated. So give them complete support and let them study. And now please, get the dinner on the table. I'm very hungry. As Mrs. Kapoor climbed the stairs to her bedroom, Ramesh looked up in awe at his Memsaab's supreme humanity and her amazing sensitivity towards his daughters.